Amitabh's father went from a village in Champaran to Patna. Amitabh went from Patna to New York eventually. We're sitting down Oxford, which is of course in Delhi. And all of this seems kind of appropriate because Amitabh's book is a work of stunning synthesis. It links Bihar's villages, New York, Oxford, the other one, New Delhi, and much more to the hero of this book, which is Patna. But there's much more than a sort of physical synthesis in the book. It ranges across art forms, journalism, painting, installation, films, prose, poems, music, television, all of these in Hindi and English. The range is memory, reportage, critique. The range is the lives of people. And throughout, there's this most delicate, intense synthesizing of the observer and the observed. Over the decades, the writer has thought wide and deep about the things he's writing about. The writer is returning home, sniffing around like a very high-caliber rat. And maybe that's a good place to start on that. Home and rats and the connection.
I'll read a few paragraphs about rats. For some reason, even in the Patna Museum, home to Mauryan art and Buddhist relics, including, some say, the ashes of Lord Buddha, there are stuffed rats nailed to black wooden bases. About 50 feet away stands the magnificent, glistening 3rd century BC sculpture of the Didarganj Yakshi. A long and heavy necklace dangles in the gap between her globular stone breasts. In her right hand, she holds a fly whisk flung languidly over her shoulder. And running away from her are the stuffed rats, a small procession of them, rotting and seemingly blinded with age, breathing the air of eternity under dusty glass. Outside in the city, however, and one can be certain in other parts of the museum too, the rats are alive and dangerous. Newspapers periodically carry reports that babies have been bitten by rats. In the middle of the night one winter, during a visit to Patna, I was sitting at the dining table with my jet-lagged 2-year-old watching a cartoon on my computer. I had only switched on a single dim light as I didn't want my parents to be disturbed. We must have been sitting there quietly for about half an hour before my little boy asked, "Baba, what is that?" He was pointing beyond the screen. There were 2 enormous rats walking away from us. They looked like stout ladies on tiny heels on their way to the market. I wouldn't have been surprised to see them carrying small, elegant handbags. One person told me that the Patna police had claimed that rats were drinking from the bottles of illegal liquor seized by the authorities and stored in warehouses. I didn't believe the story. I said that I smelled a rat. And so a link was duly sent to me. In the press report, a senior police officer named Kundan Krishnan was quoted as saying, "We are fed up with these drunken rats and cannot explain why they have suddenly turned to consumption of alcohol."
The sections he's read from is just part of a sort of bravura opening section, which ends with this. Amitabh, you say, "I have some admiration for the rat that, unlike me, hasn't fled Patna and has found it possible to live and thrive there. Oh, Biradar, who is the rat now?"
I thought if I wrote about rats or about filth, then because my hometown suffers under a stereotype, kuch log kahenge ki yes, this is familiar. It fits the pattern, or it fits the picture. And then I thought that my aesthetic would be that of subverting that stereotype, so that when we get to the end, we discover that it is not that furry creature there that we are talking about, but the hirsute beast here. That I am the rat, the one who has abandoned the city. Because suna jata hai na ki, when the ship is sinking, not that I'm calling Patna a sinking ship, but when it is sinking, the rats are the first to escape. So main wahi hu. I left. Others have stayed there and thrived. I abandoned my parents. So I was giving expression to a little bit of that regret and guilt, I suppose.
You played on E.B. White's idea in the New York essay about 3 New Yorks.
Ji, ji, ji.
But your 3 Patnas have to do with leaving or staying.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell them about the 3 Patnas in your book, or you want to read from it?
There are 3 Patnas. One Patna is made up of those who were born or grew to adulthood there and then moved elsewhere. Their achievements as well as failures now perforce reflect on Patna. This group of people is a great contributor to the mythology of Patna, sometimes of the saccharine, photoshopped variety you encounter on YouTube or random Wikipedia pages. If you go on YouTube and click Patna, वो बड़ी ही एक sad music आएगी and then people will say, वो हमारा बिस्कोमान भवन, वो विशाल गांधी मैदान जो पटना के बड़े दिल की तरह है, वो रेलवे स्टेशन, वो गोलघर वगैरह वगैरह. Anyway, the second Patna is of those who were not able to leave for one reason or another, and they are the only ones who truly belong there. A few of them have become enormously successful, particularly in business or politics or education. There is also a third Patna, the city that is the destination of those for whom it is a matter of life and death. These are people who come to Patna because they see a need in others. And I'm talking here of political activists, or they are themselves in dire need, poor students, or those requiring urgent medical help. This third Patna doesn't make Patna great, but it gives it intensity. It even makes it meaningful and necessary. वो पटना जो है ना, that extracts from a lot of folks a lot of pathos कि भाई वो बड़ा गरीब आदमी है तो ये है तो वो move करता है मुझे. लेकिन I think we should also celebrate many other things, and I think I was trying to do that by being a little bit more detached about some other things. But I am filled with despair. Just the other day, a child was brought in to my sister's clinic, and he had been born, the father said, 10 minutes earlier, but wasn't crying, couldn't cry. Its lungs were filled with water, which ordinarily a child, when they cry, they push the water out and are able to breathe. And the child's cry was like an animal sound. For such a tiny body, it just kept grunting. It had a shattering impact on everyone who was in that room. मैं भी चला गया था देखने. Now, that would have filled me with despair. It did fill me with despair for a long time, till the child actually survived because of the medicines, but also the ventilator and other things that were done. So I'm not also wholly shy of doing what I'm critiquing, the easy reaching for pathos, because I think that also has an important place. But there should also be a nice sheen of irony on it, because sometimes it's a lazy approach to describe a place, because all you have to do is stir the sentiments in that particular way. Does that make sense, boss? Yes. I don't know whether you guys are familiar with Ian Jack. He used to be the editor of Granta magazine, and he was the India reporter in the 80s. Ian Jack went to Patna and found that he had a stomachache. He finds that he has, it's actually appendicitis. And he's in great pain. And he celebrates in this lovely little essay, it's called Under the Knife in Patna, just the ordinary care that people provide him. A guy who is a reporter whom he has just met the previous evening spends the night sleeping in the cot next to him. And there's a lovely humanism in this writing, and a very empathetic writing. To wo mera hero hai.
I felt you were itching to also write it in Hindi. And I felt that you at many points of the book wish that you could have rendered it in Hindi.
Yes.
I'm thinking about activist Irfan, recalling what he calls his Casanova days in Allahabad. This is where Amitabh sort of talks about meeting all kinds of lefty activists in Patna and following the fortunes. And he says, I still search for Anju Srivastav. She was my Hema Malini. I would squeeze my lips so that I could have the same dent as hers. She didn't respond to me, but yes, I still search for her. Please tell us this in Hindi.
I always loved Irfan because, by the way, after this book came out, someone called him from Patna to say that he was in the book. So he called me. And he must have been told, he's written about you. Why else would the guy have called? But still he wanted a clarification. He called and said, हाँ गुरु मेरे बारे में लिखा क्या? I said हाँ नाम लेके लिखा? I said हाँ जितना तुमने कहा पूरा लिख दिया. He said मजा आया ठीक है बाद में. So what did he say that day? I always loved the fact that he was very direct. We had gone once to organize an exhibition, I'm talking about 15 years ago in Patna, of my photos. It was called Other Americas. And the guy who was at that institute seemed to suggest that in order to secure the hall, we needed to give a little bit of money to them. I, being a sleazy sort, was thinking, should I give the money here or should I take him outside? But Irfan said, आप रिश्वत मांग रहे हैं क्योंकि हम रिश्वत नहीं देंगे. So he's like that. My mother bought a new stereo and I thought it was a great thing, you know, a solace in her old age. But Irfan went and said, Ma, ये तो बड़ी अच्छी stereo है, ये मुझे दे दो. Whatever. So that day I said, boss, just tell me, what were your experiences as a young man when you came to Patna from Allahabad, you know? And he began talking with an astonishing candor about women. Not with lewdness, but just what I thought of as honesty. And the way he described his wife and why he was attracted to her was equal. You'll have to read the book. I mean, I think that's my hook for you. You will have to buy the book and read it.
My last question to you, Amitabh, is the note the book ends on, very tender, very touching. There's a thread that runs through the book about parents and children. And your poem, the story of Imtiaz Ahmad, the historian, he tells you about his daughter. It brings a tear to your eye when you're meeting him. I just wondered whether you wanted to read anything from that chapter or the poem which you wrote.
Sure. When the bicycle bell rings twice at the door, I get up in a rush, forgetting that your cycle is there in a storeroom, locked up. And it couldn't possibly be you, my son. The truth strikes me even before my head spinning, I turn the handle of the door. The summer sun is blinding. I pray it is the postman who rang his bell twice. Sometimes it is. Your letters come each week. I'm sorry I don't write often. And when I do, I can only speak of waiting and loneliness. These choices somehow were never mine. Thank you.